The chair at this point will open the round of questions. Normally the chair would recognize himself for the first 5 minutes, but in this instance I'm going to swap times with Mr. Hultgren from the great state of Illinois.
Thank you so much, Chairman, and thank you both for being here. Really appreciate that. Dr. Bowen, just wanted to start out. I've got several questions for both of you, so I wanted to go through some things kind of quickly. You testify that the growth of foreign investment in R&D and resulting increase in foreign R&D capacity are contributing factors to the loss of 28% of domestic high-technology manufacturing jobs over the last decade. Would you agree that there are some other contributing factors, many of which may be more critical of the loss of manufacturing jobs or any jobs for that matter overseas? And wondered, R&D spending aside, what do you think is the major obstacle to American competitiveness today?
There are many factors, and it's much more complicated than my short statement would summarize. I come from a world where we invest a tremendous amount of confidence in a nation's ability to respond with innovation, given the fundamental investments in basic science. It's a long-term situation, and I realize there are short-term issues that need to be addressed. I would make a plea for the support for the long-term basic research, because I think it'll pay off to our nation.
Well, I agree with you. I'm a huge supporter of basic scientific research. I feel like if we fail to do that, we absolutely are failing our future as we do that. Dr. Suresh, wonder if I could ask you, NSF has been identified as the only federal agency dedicated to the support of basic research, as we're talking about, and education in all fields of science and engineering. Do you believe that some of the more applied areas of research identified in America Competes Reauthorization Act, coupled with multiple administration applied priorities for NSF for fiscal year 13 budget request, dilutes the funding for basic fundamental research? And I wonder if you could please explain, and also Dr. Bowen would love to get your thoughts on that as well.
So as you pointed out, Mr. Hultgren, NSF focuses primarily on basic science and engineering, but we also walk a very fine line between supporting core research, fundamental research, and research that may have a particular application where we provide basic knowledge, basic tools, basic technologies. A very good example is robotics. So if you take the National Robotics Initiative with about $70 million or so per year, NSF's investment is about $28 million on an annual basis. And that investment goes from pure mathematics to computer science to optimization to social and behavioral sciences, human-machine interactions. So there are a variety of fundamental tools, processes, and technologies and basic understanding that National Robotics Initiative at NSF fosters. So that's a very good example of an interplay between basic research and what may seem like an applied area. Another example that I would like to point out, going back to your first question to Dr. Bowen, in the 1970s, NSF funded mathematical and process modeling, which at that time was viewed by even some of the mission agencies and industries as too academic. And that support in the 1970s led to what we now know as rapid prototyping, which had a huge impact on American leadership in manufacturing in the 80s and 90s. So I think at NSF, the boundaries are blurred between the continuum of basic research all the way to what may evolve to be a spectacular innovation.
I could just add a small footnote to this. You asked very specifically, did we think that the applied research investments are in some sense competitive? I'd like to say no, because I think that they played well together and reinforce each other. There are compromises and challenges in the budget that all of us understand. The one benefit of the basic research, which we celebrate in my life as a university professor, is the creation of the human resource, the young people that are going to invest long careers, both in applied as well as fundamental kinds of activity. So I, again, would support that as well.
And my fear is, again, that we're diluting that priority of basic scientific research that all of us are talking of how important that is. One last question. Dr. Suresh, you described the new I-Corp initiative as a public-private partnership to accelerate the movement of research results from the lab to the marketplace by establishing opportunities to assess the readiness of emerging technology concepts for transition into valuable new products. Please walk us through I-Corp, specifically how awardees are selected, how you avoid picking winners and losers, which is something I'm very concerned about, and perhaps most importantly, how this program falls within the basic research mission of the Foundation.
I'll be very happy to answer that, Mr. Hultgren. NSF supports $6 billion a year, approximately, of basic research every year. And it's our desire and our mission not to deviate from that goal. So, having said that, NSF historically, going back to the 1970s, has taken the product or the output of fundamental research and then extracted out of that the maximum value. A very good example is the SBIR program. NSF was the first federal agency to start an SBIR program. Now there are 9 federal agencies to do that. What we do in the I-Corp is at the end of an NSF-funded project, or very near the end of an NSF-funded project, we ask the community to provide ideas on how to take the output of NSF-funded fundamental research, the basic discovery, and by giving the principal investigators a small amount of money over a short period of time, ask them, does this basic discovery have the opportunity to go beyond publication, beyond patent, perhaps to lead to a product, a process, a software, a tool that can have near-term or long-term benefit to the society? And as I think the ranking member just mentioned, the I-Corp budget by design is a tiny, tiny fraction of NSF budget. And I-Corp comes well before the foundation of a small business. So it's even more academic, more pre-business than SBIR. So it's well before the valley of death and what we call a ditch of death, where ideas may not see the light of day because there is no opportunity. So that's the first goal of I-Corp. It's absolutely not our intention to pick winners and losers. I-Corp does business the same way NSF does business. We want to fund the best ideas and the best people in the most transparent way through a gold standard peer review process. And that's what I-Corp will continue to do. In the first round, we funded 21 programs, and all initial indications are a good subset of those programs will go much beyond what I-Corp had intended. So we are very pleased with the initial indications. The other idea of I-Corp is the vast majority of NSF-funded institutions in the country at the present time, either because of their geographical location or because of the lack of infrastructure, are not part of the innovation ecosystem of the country. They probably are isolated. They may not have the innovation infrastructure in their institutions. They may not have access to venture capitalists. Given that NSF in 2013 will support 285,000 individuals in the country to the tune of $6 billion, and we touch nearly 2,000 institutions in the country, we have an opportunity to use our stature, our reach, our scope to create a virtual infrastructure that brings together not only academics, but also industry leaders, people who have had spectacular successes through innovation, and equally people who have failed so that we can learn lessons from them. So, and I believe that innovation is a contact sport, and by bringing our NSF-funded community, including students, in touch with this national ecosystem, we believe that we can extract much more value out of NSF investments into basic science and engineering.
Well, again, I thank you both for being here. We just want to continue to work together, again, to have that focus of protecting, and I hear it from both of you, protecting that commitment to basic scientific research, especially in a time where the dollars are so tight, to make sure that the priority is still there. So thank you. Chairman, thank you so much for your graciousness, too, and allowing me to go over and allowing me to go first. So thank you so much. I yield back.